Welcome back to the Touch Gloves podcast. I'm here with Richard again.
We're back in business, boys.
What episode's this?
8? I don't know, the winter break we had's just totally thrown me off course.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
who
think
I
it's
am.
7.
I don't know who I am
3.
anymore.
I don't know, you've changed with your tattoos.
I don't know.
How was your Christmas?
Yeah, it was good. It was alright. How was yours?
Alright. Didn't really do a lot, to be quite honest. So yeah, quite a lot to catch up on.
Quite a lot, yeah.
I think the last time we were on, we did where's my notes? It was the Tyson Fury sort of fiasco that we had.
That was quite the fight.
Massive shit show. The big lead up to the last podcast was John Jones' fight, UFC 229. No, not 229. I've read the wrong thing.
232, man.
232.
232.
Both predicted John Jones, and John Jones won.
Were you expecting anything less?
Not really. I mean, how long was it since his last fight?
Alright, you've lost me there.
A year, 2 year max.
Probably about 2. That's just a total guess.
It's just like, nothing really changed.
He came back, he mopped the floor, did what he had to do.
He's just
round 3 knockout?
Yeah, round 3. Naturally gifted, so...
He knows what he's doing. He's very talented.
I think the biggest upset on that card was the Nunes Cyborg fight. Where
That was
Cyborg
certainly
got
something.
slapped. Like, genuinely destroyed.
First round knockout. And you don't expect that.
Just didn't stand a chance. She walked in the ring, didn't even look like she was going to win.
Chris Cyborg's the scariest woman I've ever seen.
Scary one with a freaking scary name.
Very scary name.
It's one of the better names in UFC.
That's true, to be fair. But she really did literally get slapped about. There was no coming back from it.
Nunes on the night was just incredible.
I'd have said all the way, since the card was revealed, Chris Cyborg is going to wipe the floor with Nunes. I'd hold my hands up and say I was wrong. I was miles off.
You were more than miles off, mate. You were completely...
Light years away.
Yeah, pretty much. That was shocking.
Maybe as we're seeing a new Nunes.
What's the record? 17 wins.
17-4 for Nunes.
Cyborg is
20-2 with 1 no contest.
I mean,
That's
you're
it. They're
looking at Cyborg, but that fight...
They're on the same level in terms of
yeah.
experience, and they're both obviously really talented fighters.
Yeah, I mean, once you get knocked out that first time, it sort of like messes your head up.
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Just look at Ronda Rousey.
No, yeah, that's a prime example actually. When she got knocked out, and you take a bat like that again, your brain sort of just shuts down because it knows that sort of pain and feeling.
Do you think it gives them like a sort of anxiety?
I think it's like a defense thing in your brain where something like that happens to you again, it's going to react in a certain way to, sort of protect you, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's more of like an anxiety. Like, you get knocked out once, you are terrified of getting knocked out again. And when you're in
it's exactly
when you're in the octagon,
thing,
you're going to be sat there thinking, please don't knock me out, Chris Cyborg. Please don't knock me out, Amanda Nunes. Please don't knock me out, anyone. And you're not going to be focusing on the fight. You're going to be absolutely terrified, and that's what's going to make you lose. So I hope Chris Cyborg does come back from it, because she's one of the best in the business.
Unreal. She's really good.
We saw, like, if you said this like 2 years ago, it would have been Ronda Rousey, one of the best in the business. She gets knocked out, then she's done now. She's signed on with the WWE.
It's just WWE is just a sad place for fights to go in You know, they're not
We're
feeling
not,
it.
yeah.
You're not feeling the UFC anymore. And
I mean, Brock Lesnar's come and gone so many times.
I think Brock Lesnar's just money though.
Yeah.
Pure money bags.
I don't know what CM Punk was thinking. I mean,
Oh,
he
don't
was
get me
sorted in the
started on CM
WWE.
Punk. I can't be asked to talk about CM Punk today because CM Punk is, well, a punk. Logan Paul or KSI could slap CM Punk.
Because CM Punk spent his life being a stuntman. That's what you trained in the WWE. You
know what I
trained
like
how
to
to
say?
take the blows, you trained how to take the jumps.
CM Punk versus Steve-O.
Steve-O,
Steve-O.
Jackass Steve-O.
Jackass Steve-O.
I mean,
That would be unreal.
no, it'd be weird, if anything.
Well, before we drift off from UFC, we'll just sort of try and get everything that we've got down that we've missed. Adesanya has been announced to fight Anderson Silva, which is
He's a big prospect, Isreal Adesanya.
he is, and I think he's going to win. I honestly do, because Anderson Silva's in his 40s. He's effectively, to me, he's effectively come out of retirement for this fight.
Yeah.
He hasn't necessarily retired or anything, but hasn't fought in a while, and he's been called out and pulled out into fighting this absolute nutter,
This unit.
the
of a
style
lad.
bender.
The last style bender.
Unreal name.
New Avatar
like that.
series, man.
I like that name, but Adesanya did win his last fight. It was
He's flawless at the minute, man. 14-0, I think. I could be miles off there.
I mean,
But last
after
time I
my-
checked, it
after
was
my
about
little
that.
prediction. You've got Dana White coming out and Joe Rogan saying that this guy is top things.
You just whipped your crystal ball out.
Whipped it out, and
We say this kid's gonna be one of the bigger names in the UFC in the years to come. Next thing you know, he's fighting a legend like Silva.
oh, I can't wait.
I'm looking
It's an
forward
interesting
to
fight
it.
because Anderson Silva is such an entertaining fighter to watch.
Yeah,
He's
as old as he's getting, he's proved he can still.
his agility is just unreal. I mean, when I think of Anderson Silva, I think of flying kicks and knees.
Yeah, you feel like you're watching like a Bruce Lee film or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
He's so
sort of
acrobatic.
Acrobatic cage jumps and stuff. Adesanya is just he's
The new kid
he's
on
an
the block.
assassin. He's lethal.
He is. One wrong move, and I think Adesanya's just going to take him down. But when you've,
What you say? Do you think it's going to be a
I think it's going to be.
knockout fight?
I think it's going to be a knockout fight.
Ground and pound, or 'cause none of these fighters are.
With an experienced fighter like Silva, I don't think it'll be.
None of these fighters are submission fighters. I don't think.
I think it'll be.
I wouldn't really say.
It'll be a TKO, not a full knockout. I do think it'll go to the ground.
Do you not think it'll go all the way?
I'd like to see it go all the way, but no, I think Adesanya's just got one of them punches in him.
He's just edging it for me. Just. If Anderson Silva wins, then God knows what this means for Anderson Silva in the future.
I mean, the way I think that Silva's going to be looking at it is this new kid on the block, going to fight him.
If I
I've got
lose,
the
I'll
years
lose.
of experience behind my belt. If I win, it's because of my experience. If I lose, it's because he's the new up-and-coming prospect.
I don't know. Is it a mismatch?
I don't think it's a mismatch at all. I think it's a good opportunity for Adesanya to branch out into the mainstream fighters most people know about.
He's a kickboxer. Adesanya.
Full-on kickboxer.
Full-on kickboxer. Probably one of the best kickboxers in this generation. He is just insane. Natural born power.
The last style bender.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he was 12, he must have looked like, I don't know, Thor. Because now he looks like the Hulk.
I mean, I thought he was quite short.
He's quite a stocky lad.
But
He's fully just pure muscle. 0.999999999% fat. He's just pure just muscle.
jeez, I mean, all I can really say about all I can really say about him.
No, because he is just
something
Hold on.
else. Like,
he's I forgot where he's from. He's a, I think he's a Congan fighter, or oh god, hold on, let me find out. He's not American, I know that for a fact. Nigerian. But I mean, there, look, he's kickboxing there.
Yeah, the guy swings his leg around like it's not tomorrow. But he's also got that knockout punch on him. What I'd like to see is, well, Silva's proven.
Well, I've said he's quite a muscly fighter. He's quite a skinny fighter, but
Silva's proven he's a very athletic fighter. Acrobatic, sorry.
yeah, very, very.
And you put him against this new kickboxing talent on the scene, I think we're in for a good show. But I think what Adesanya needs to break into the mainstream is to remain flawless. Because that's what a lot of like casual people who watch the UFC are like, wow, this guy hasn't lost in the business. He must be good. And even for the more hardcore fans, this kid's took out Silva, a legend in the game.
No, I think Legend's gone a bit far.
He's well known.
Definitely a top fighter, but
I wouldn't say one of the greatest of all time, but he's up there.
I think for me, he's probably one of the most entertaining fighters, top 5 entertaining fighters to watch. But I think if we move on from that, I'm saying Adesanya, you're saying
I'm also saying Adesanya.
Adesanya.
I want him to win.
You go with me for once.
I went with you on John Jones. I'm just not a fan of
What should
him.
we move on to next? I think we'll do that at the end. I think that'll be a good thing to end on. Let's talk about Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Money Mayweather.
Now,
He had a little scrap on New Year, didn't he?
he just didn't care, did he?
So basically, for those who don't know, Floyd Mayweather fought the Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa.
5'4", Tenshin Nasukawa.
It was your typical boxing fight.
Well, it wasn't your typical boxing fight because the story behind it was these two were going to fight, but it was only for sort of millionaires to watch. Just
It was
a
like
really small audience.
like a private
Yeah, like a private
private
fight.
club going on.
And that was supposed to be what happened, and then Mayweather turned down the fight, saying that because apparently it was moved to a bigger audience, which it did. And Mayweather said, "Oh no, I only want to fight in front. I want it to be private. I don't want it to be a big thing." Turned out that he ended up fighting in front of this big audience. Turned up 2 hours late because he was having a nap.
Relatable.
And he just absolutely abused this little kid. I mean, 50-0, right? You've
27
You've
knockouts.
27. You've defeated some of the biggest stars in boxing history, right? Why are you fighting a kid?
Money.
But like, it just goes to show he's just I don't know, he's just an idiot.
I was got careful where you go with that one.
God, I have so many words I could say about him, but you've just absolutely knocked his confidence. He made him cry.
Yeah, I mean,
The
towel got through in, didn't it?
Yeah, the towel got through him because he got knocked down 3 times in the first round. I mean, the way he was laughing at him, he had his hands behind his back at one point. He was just flaunting his gloves in front of his face.
He really embarrassed this young
kid,
lad.
it was 2 to 4 inches smaller than him. Trying to like proper, trying to take it seriously. Like,
it's not every day you get
he's
to
showing a
fight
bit
him.
of respect, and Floyd is just like, this is a walk in the park.
I mean, you've seen it with Floyd, like his persona in general. Like, the guy is very what's the word I'm
I
looking
mean,
for
he
here?
likes to flex. I mean, if you've,
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people.
egotistical.
Yeah, like if you got stuff like that, you might as well flex it, and that's just the person he is. But when it comes to a sport and it's about respect to opponents, like why are you being matched with this?
Yeah, I mean,
You've got
At the end of
50 and 0. Why do you have to make it 51 and 0, beating a kid?
does it count towards his record?
Yeah, 51.
Wow. His last 2 boxing fights have been very one-sided.
I mean, it just annoyed me.
I mean,
I
McGregor.
felt really bad for the kid. It was just an unnecessary fight. That kid will never be the same again. That little Japanese fighter.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be hard
was
to bounce
so-
back from.
So unnecessary. He'll always be remembered for that. Always. Well, maybe only remembered for that, to be quite honest. Because,
The kid who got smashed by Floyd Mayweather.
yeah. I've just awful.
It is quite sad, like, 'cause he's our age, you know. Nasakawa.
I really didn't see the point in the whole thing.
Like, he was
Other than money bags in his eyes. What?
He was born in 98.
Well, he's your age then. He's
Well,
2 years
yeah.
older than me.
Still. I mean, he's only 20 years old and he's fighting.
Fighting someone 21 years prior. Yeah. Floyd, mate, get together. Get it together, Floyd.
Yeah. I think it's time to, you know, leave the legacy. You've done what you've done, and no one can do anything but respect.
I mean, he hasn't proved a lot saying, look, I can still fight, because I wouldn't even call that a fight, or I wouldn't even call that a scrap.
I wouldn't call that a fight. I
I'd say
wouldn't
that
even
was a
call the
walk in the
McGregor
park.
fight a fight. Because that went on eight rounds, wasn't
I mean, the kid looked like Bambi.
Yeah.
Scattering around on the floor.
it? You could tell he was just a young lad, to be fair. Like,
I mean, he wasn't a great fighter. He really wasn't that good at all. I don't see
I
things.
think it's 'cause he's a kickboxer.
What is the point of kickboxer? Sorry. What is the point of kickboxers become boxers?
Yeah, I've got no idea. Like, the kid.
McGregor, UFC fighter, black belt in, fucking taekwondo and all this. You're not a boxer.
Like, so this Nasakawa kid made his professional debut when he was 15, winning multiple world championships in kickboxing, and was undefeated. This guy didn't know what it was like to lose until he stepped in a ring with Floyd Mayweather in a normal boxing fight.
It's rubbish, man. It's absolute rubbish.
They shouldn't have fought. It's basically what
Shouldn't have happened.
It's basically what McGregor Mayweather would have been. Because you got the best boxer in the world at the moment fighting someone who isn't a boxer. Or, well, isn't primarily a boxer, because there is boxing elements in both UFC and kickboxing.
It just didn't make sense to me since the start. And I mean, you can laugh about it all you want, but at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather comes out looking like an absolute idiot. So
Yeah. Hefty paycheck at the end, though.
hefty paycheck, money that he doesn't need. Do you have Floyd on any social media?
Nah, I don't really follow him.
I have him on Instagram, right? And he was going, I forgot where he was going. I think he was going, I don't know, somewhere in like Hawaii or something, I don't know, some random place, and
Yeah.
put in his story, suitcase full of watches, probably worth about 2 million. Yeah, that there.
So he's got 2 briefcases full of watches.
Yeah, no, what he took one out and said, this is what I wear, and I choose what to wear, and pulled out another briefcase and said, if I don't like any of them, I'll bring this suitcase as well. Probably about £5 million worth of watches between both them cases, right? And then at the end, he just threw about 10 grand on the bed and said, whoever likes this, I'll give 10 grand to.
Whoa.
And you're just like, what? Floyd, mate.
He's a weird boy. Like he's a very
Talk about flexing. Mad. Absolute mad. Did you see that he was at a basketball game with Manny Pacquiao?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a bit.
I think he does like.
There's talks about that happening for a third.
I'd like to see that happen, but I think Manny Pacquiao is one of the few that Floyd Mayweather actually respects.
Was it? Oh God!
Are you tired of tail?
I am tired of it. It's been a long one. Manny Pacquiao has fought since Mayweather fight. I think he's had a couple. I think he's won them. The main highlight from since that Mayweather fight was that he did lose his Nike sponsorship deal because he made those homophobic comments.
Yeah.
I think since then he's come quite far. I'd like to see a third.
I'd like to see a third. I'd very much like to see a third, because I just want one guy to come over to Floyd Mayweather and just ruin his record.
I don't think he'll win. I think it'll be another Mayweather win, but yeah, I think that will be a third and final. It has to be the final. You can't have the third. Has to be the end.
I think like rivalries have to. If they go past one, it has to be three. That's why I still want to see McGregor Diaz 3, because you get Diaz on the first, McGregor on the second. Which one's the best? Get a third. Get Pacquiao and Mayweather a fight again. Because I just want someone to put Mayweather in his place and say, you know, you can lose, man.
Yeah. I mean, we can move off Mayweather now. One other fight that I watched since we've been off was Canelo Alvarez.
I didn't catch that.
Fighting Rocky Fielding. He's a Scouse fighter.
Up the boys.
Absolutely shocking.
How?
Rocky was just barely threw punches, and when he did land, it was knout. I mean, it was a significant height difference, and Canelo just absolutely abused his body. He went down like four times through body shots.
Body shots?
Yeah. Canelo led like the second or third one and stood back, and he just went down on one knee. It was just completely done. It was just embarrassing for an English fighter to watch. It was just really, really bad. I mean, Canelo's shown that he's in his prime. Looking to fight Oscar De La Hoya.
When's that gonna go down?
I'm not really sure.
I mean, what do you think goes through a fighter's head when they're in that ring or they're in that octagon and they're like not going on the offensive? Because there is being the defensive fighter, but even if you are a defensive fighter, you still want to, throw something in there.
I mean, the Oscar De La Hoya is just rumours and stuff, but there's the trilogy that's going to happen between GGG versus Canelo, which I think needs to happen, because even though Canelo won both, first one I would have said maybe Canelo. You could argue about that. Second fight, GGG all the way for me. I thought Gennady Golovkin was not superior in that fight, but I thought he just edged it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a definite victory for GGG. Trilogy needs to happen.
That's the thing with rematches, man. Once you get one in, you want another.
You just it needs to happen, because it was so close in the last fight, and I think he was robbed. I do think he was robbed.
If we want to talk about fighters being robbed, Fury Wilder, the biggest scandal, the biggest robbery.
I mean,
in some time.
Yeah, we need to see her. rematch in that. I still am baffled to this day, and I will be for the rest of my life, why Tyson Fury did not win that fight.
Like, when you look at the stats, he'd been knocked down twice.
It's unbelievable.
But one of them was because I think he clipped his ear or something.
Maybe.
But that, like, the second knockdown, I thought that was over. I'll never forget that. I will never in my life forget Fury rising from the dead.
Fury's supposed to be fighting, talks of him fighting Anthony Joshua come
There's also talks about Wilder fighting Joshua.
April, May time. Anthony Joshua is fighting March, April, May time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Opponent wise, no idea. I mean, I'll put next fight, it'll probably come up with
I'm fairly sure something was booked. It doesn't look like anything's set in stone.
I think that came up there.
Dillian White. I mean,
less than 24 hours ago, Eddie Hearn did say that Anthony Joshua versus Dillian White 2 was close to happening.
that leaves a slot for Fury Wilder too.
Mm.
And I think that's what a lot of people want. Because
I think that's the road they're going down. I think they wanted to get Fury Wilder out of the way before they start talking about Joshua, because I think Joshua's like the sort of the god tier. You got these two fighters who were building the way up. So
yeah. Have you seen that video on Twitter of Anthony Joshua in the golf caddy with the orangutans?
No.
Oh man, I'll show you after this. It's so funny.
Get on.
So basically, he's just in a golf cart driving around with like 3 orangutans dressed up in like mini skirts and that. It's so I don't know what's going on in the video, but he's driving around with them. He's having the time of his life, laughing his head off.
I don't like it when people dress up animals. I think it's animal cruelty.
Even if someone puts like a little coat on the dog.
Oh, I mean that's sort of like.
I was gonna say it's cold outside, you know.
It's cold outside, but that's respectable because it can be like, it's not like a harness. It's when people take it over the top with stupid hats and stuff. And
Aye.
dressing up monkeys in shirts and that. It's like I don't think they want to be like that, man.
Probably not.
People dye the dogs. We're drifting off here.
just a touch.
Well, I think we'll leave boxing there.
One more thing we can go on is
Okay.
our fights of the year from last year.
Yeah.
We never got the chance to.
We're coming towards February now. I mean,
We've only
day
just got back this week.
it's last day of the month in January, and we're coming into February. It is a bit late to talk about this, but
Better late than never.
fight of the year,
You go first.
2018. I think mine had to be the one on the back end of 2018. Nice voice break there.
Yeah, man.
And that was
You're getting old.
Korean Zombie versus Rodriguez, because that was just, it had everything in it, absolutely everything. It had
Blood,
passion,
sweat and tears.
blood, sweat and tears, and then just the way it ended on the bell. Such an unusual knockout.
I wouldn't say that's
Bent
one.
over and then elbow,
It's not your
uppercut.
typical knockout. It was quite the thing.
uppercut, elbow, knockout on the bell. I mean, the guys were hugging each
I
other.
think that's one of the best like shows of sportsmanship I've seen in a while. That's respect. That's how you
Could not
respect
stop
your
thinking about
opponent.
it. Could not stop thinking about it after it happened. It was just,
I remember
I kept watching it, and I was just like, I watched it again the other day.
the Monday after it happened, like you just bombed over to me and you were like, "Hell, have a look at this."
It was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe what I saw. But it goes without a doubt. I think that was definitely my favourite. There's ones that were close to it. The one that you enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
That was
the Ferguson and Pettis fight from
yeah,
229.
I did enjoy.
As much as I loved that fight, I am gutted.
That card was just a very good card to watch.
It was because of the main event. Like, let's be honest, they
Yeah.
stacked so much into that card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was all the eggs in one
I think
UFC
that
basket.
That did get fight of the night.
It did,
Which
which is weird because it only lasted 1 or 2 rounds. Because Pettis busted his hand.
I think it went. It was going to go into the 3rd round, but
It got cancelled because Pettis busted his right hand.
yeah, no, he completely broke his hand. And then there's that famous picture there of him screaming.
It was good to see Ferguson back. Because who doesn't
big
love
Ferguson
Tony
fans.
Ferguson?
We are big Ferguson fans, and hopeful that he'll get some
I
more
want to
W's.
see a rematch
in
of
2019.
Ferguson Pettis.
I think it will happen. I think he's looking more towards Nate Diaz at the moment.
Ferguson Diaz would be.
Ferguson's
yeah.
going. He's looking up the table. I was going to say, the one that's moved to one championship. Who do you call him? Bald lad.
Aldo.
No.
Alvarez.
Alvarez. Yeah. I was going to say that,
That would have been quite a good fight, to be fair.
but yeah, he's so pissed off.
But yeah, he's took off. He's gone. So looking at it now, who do you think is next for Tony Ferguson?
I really don't know. McGregor, honestly.
I actually agree with you on that. As much as I want to see it happen, I think both fighters are in need of.
For McGregor, maybe not, but for Ferguson, maybe.
McGregor needs to get back in the game because he spent so long out of it. He got his head kicked in by Khabib Nurmagomedov.
He's definitely building up to something because he is training every day, Conor McGregor. It's just, who's he going to fight? You just really don't know. There's talks every day about a different person. One day I'd like to see McGregor at his prime versus Ferguson in his prime.
That's like the dream fight there. That is the dream fight.
And then hopefully McGregor.
I think both fighters could
Khabib.
do with getting back in the swing of things. Because you even seen and you see you see Ferguson, he had 2 rounds, it was called off. Nurmagomedov just wiped the floor with McGregor. McGregor couldn't do a thing. I think both fighters need an equally balanced enough fight. Get back in the swing of things. Get that fighter's mentality back. And the winner wins. The winner goes on to Nurmagomedov.
I don't like him. I really don't.
Yeah, I struggle to like him. Did you see where he said a while back, man, he was like, there should be no women fighters in the UFC.
You get a real bother with stuff like that now. The world's far too sensitive for stuff to be said.
Yeah, I mean, although I do completely disagree with his statement. I mean, look at Nunes, look at Cyborg, even Rousey in her prime.
Was that lad at a nightclub that came up to a female fighter and she absolutely smashed him, smashed his face in, broken bones a lot.
That's just scary, that.
I think if we round this off, what was your favourite sort of fighting moment from 2018?
Favourite fighting moment?
You at UFC, boxing a lot. What was your favourite
It has
thing?
to. I'm quite torn, actually.
I mean, if we look at the moments you got McGregor in the bus.
See, I am torn between the bus incident and
That was just so unusual. And when the news broke out, it was worldwide.
It felt like you were watching the WWF and someone was doing a promo.
It was concerned more than just fighting fans. It was like, what is this guy doing?
So there's 3. I'm going to cheat a bit. There's 3.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, there's the bus incident, because it just generates so much hype for an event, and it's just such a weird thing to wake up to. You wake up, go on Twitter, doing the daily browse, and you've got McGregor's bashed a bus in, potentially blinded someone, glass everywhere, throwing a dolly cart at it.
Glass in people's eyes so they couldn't fight.
That must have cost the company millions.
And they got him back from the fight.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view.
But second of all is after 229, where carnage just broke out.
Oh, yeah, Khabib jumped in the cage and... Yeah.
It's up till 5 a.m. watching it, And the person I was
just an unusual, amazing thing. And just watching it live was just like, you were just like, what is going on? This is absolutely insane. And like, even afterwards, you were like, what has just happened?
Yeah,
no one knew what the hell just happened.
The person I was watching it with, she was like, is that meant to happen? Is this how you end the UFC?
He's obviously not a UFC prime watcher.
She watches the boxing. She wasn't much of a UFC watcher, but she kept saying like, oh, is this how they end things? Is this meant to happen? And I'm sitting there like smiling like a little kid on Christmas. Like, I am so happy with what's happening right now. Even though it was a really disgusting attitude from both fighters, I can't say I didn't
It's
hate
not
it.
what you wanted to say, but it was.
It's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted to see. It's what I deserved to see.
Yeah, yeah.
And to end like my very last favourite moment of the year, Fury coming back from the dead. That's going to be iconic for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Because not many people can get up from a punch like that. And when he's preaching, saying it's God with me, God's got me back.
Mm-hmm.
There's something poetic about how far he fell, and how much he's climbing back.
Thought about suicide. He mentally was just in a wrong place. He gained a lot of weight. You look at him now; he's just
the man came back from the brink of ending his own life to being one of the biggest boxing events of the year. Didn't he donate all of the earnings to charity as well, to help homeless people?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think he got cheated out of that victory, and he got cheated out of not winning Sports Personality of the Year. Because if anyone deserved it, I'd say it would have been him. But what about you? What were your favourite moments?
You know what, I'm going to agree with you, to be honest.
On all three?
100%, yeah.
It was quite the year for the fighting industry.
Quite the year. It'd be hard to top it. 2019, bring us something good.
Oh, I hope so.
And on that
Just
note,
bring us some big controversy.
On that note, we'll end it there.
Yeah, we'll end it there. We're back again next week. We've got a UFC event in February to look forward to. So we can analyse the card.
We'll do the review then and
have a quick look. But for now, I'd say we're done for the day.
Done for the day. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. See you guys later.